sky blue, back out on the trail again and again. Hiking and hunting and fishing the land. Time is time well spent. We'll take it to the Delta, to the gray white shores. There's so much to see and do. Mississippi outdoors, the great outdoors. Mississippi outdoors, the great outdoors. Mississippi outdoors, the great outdoors. Mississippi outdoors.
We all like to live in a nice home with a comfortable bed, a full refrigerator, and some assurances we're safe when we're inside. Well, wildlife are no different. The process of habitat management aims to provide game animals with all of these essentials: cover, food, and protection from predators. Managing habitat is truly the core of improving production of Mississippi's game animals. This episode will overview several of the principles and practices behind land management that creates ideal habitat for wildlife.
Habitat is just simply the food, water, cover, and space that an animal needs to carry out its life history strategy.
Wildlife habitat management is implementing practices on the land to try to alter the land, to try to change the face of the land, the feel of the land, to address the needs of wildlife, of whatever particular species of wildlife you're interested in. So every wildlife species is going to have slightly different needs. Some wildlife species are going to have different needs at different times throughout their lives or different times throughout the years. So habitat management is sort of the process of trying to address those things through actively doing something on your land, whether it be a timber harvest, whether it be prescribed burning, whether it be food plots, whether it be managing your old fields or your native vegetation in certain ways. All of those things are part of habitat management, and in the end, you're trying to address the needs of the species you're interested in promoting.
Before human beings had altered some of these landscapes, it might have been possible for us to have a hands-off approach to habitat management where we could just maybe keep out of things and let nature take care of itself. I hear that sometimes. But ultimately, we don't live in that landscape. We don't live in those times are gone.
Really, almost all habitat management that we do, particularly for game birds like turkeys or quail, is geared toward minimizing predation. We do workshops around the state where we try to educate landowners, and one thing we always come back to is, look, most all habitat we're trying to do is trying to promote survival either of the adults or the young or the nest or all of those all at once.
In the absence of habitat management, one thing is for sure: without habitat, whether it's present naturally or through artificial manipulation from humans, without good habitat, no species will do as well as it could.
One of the first steps in habitat management is identifying wooded areas that need to be thinned. This lets more light through the canopy, which allows cover to grow, leading to a decrease in predation. We're on a site here where this looks like an area that was probably a field at some point, and either a pasture or ag ground or something that was just let go and reverted back. And there's a lot of this all over the state. What you see out there is a lot of sweet gum. We got a little sycamore in the overstory. From a wildlife standpoint, this isn't doing a whole lot if you have a lot of this. Turkeys will use this kind of stuff. They like to loaf in this kind of cover. And so a little bit of this is not bad, particularly if it's sort of a range where it's corridors and things like that where birds can move through. But obviously something would need to be done to this to make it better from a nesting standpoint or from a brooding standpoint. Nothing on the ground here, nowhere for a turkey to lay a nest, nothing for a deer to eat out here. So anytime you're in a situation like this where you've got a lot of this acreage, you're going to have to treat it somehow. Most of this stand is probably not quite merchantable. It'd be difficult to do a timber sale in this. You may could,
But there's other treatments like the hack and squirt or a chemical injection where we can take out some of this and start trying to shift it over, get a little sunlight in, stuff on the ground, try to make it better.
So this stand is completely dominated by mid-story, not a lot of light penetrating the forest floor. And basically, we're trying to increase the amount of available light for both browse, cover, and potential oak regeneration for the next stand. So what we're doing is using imazapyr, which is a very wide spectrum control agent. You know, it has the ability to basically kill or take out a wide diversity of species and a wide range of size or diameter. So it's just a great chemical agent to use for this type of treatment since we're, you know, in such a diverse stand. But the big component is in hardwoods. We're not able to do broadcast treatments because the trees we favor actually have the same growth characteristics and forms of the trees we're trying to take out. So the key to using injection is almost like a surgery removal, and the aspect is to actively go around and select each tree and take out the less desirable species. The way this injection works is it's just 1 hack and 1 milliliter of solution per 3 inches of diameter. So a tree this size would only receive 1 hack, and a tree this size would receive 2. And then as it gets larger, the more hacks that are required for the tree.
Another way to manage your habitat is to identify and eliminate invasive plant species that hold no nutritional value for wildlife. Some can even choke out native plants that make up a large percentage of the diet of some of our game species.
The state of Mississippi has several invasive species, but a few are Japanese climbing fern, Chinese privet, we got tallow tree, and Kogon grass. Tallow tree was introduced as an ornamental in landscaping. It is highly invasive because it produces a chemical that inhibits the growth and seed germination of other associated plants that actually have wildlife value. This is a highly invasive species. It's called tallow tree. It's also known as popcorn tree. It started out being a problem because people were using them as ornamentals in landscaping and didn't realize how highly invasive they were going to turn out to be. This is the seed. And when it bursts open, they're in a little cluster, which this one is just falling apart, but that's what it looks like when they burst open. So it looks like popcorn. I'm gonna show y'all a patch of Kogon grass. On this outer edge, you can really see how the color is starting to change, which is another way to tell that it's getting late in season to actually spray it. So that's one thing to keep in mind whenever it's starting to get to that October 15th mark. You don't want to spray it because you won't be killing it, you'll just be wasting your herbicide. This patch in general has actually killed out all the other grass species, native and non-native. That's how competitive it is, which we do have the federally endangered gopher tortoise here on this wildlife management area, and Kogon grass actually outcompetes the native grasses that gopher tortoises use to feed on. And we actually have they're about 50 to 60-year-old gopher tortoise burrows here within this food plot. So that just shows you how damaging that this grass species is.
Along with timber thinnings, prescribed fire is one of the most economical ways we have to manage habitats.
Prescribed burning is the controlled use of fire for a specific objective, and the Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries and Parks advocates and frequently uses prescribed fire to manage wildlife habitat because many of the habitats that we have in Mississippi are dry upland woods and fields were historically burned or are adapted for somewhat frequent fire. And many of the wildlife species that depend on those habitats are also adapted for somewhat frequent fire. Prescribed fire actually is used commonly to manage plant communities, and it can improve browse conditions. It can also improve long-term nesting habitat, and it can change the plant communities to make them more favorable for the wildlife that we seek to manage for.
The specific components that a lot of our game need historically would have been provided by natural causes. So widespread wildfires would have happened hundreds of years ago. Well, we don't want that to happen today. So today we need to do prescribed burns in a very controlled fashion to kind of mimic those natural processes in a way that's safe and more feasible for us.
One of the things we want actually is We've got a lot of sweet gum stems that have come up in some of these areas. We actually would like to see more of that dead, because that competes with the plants that we want, that have, greater wildlife value for what we're trying to do. But a lot of these plants will survive and they'll just go right back. And some of them even flower more after a fire than they would without a fire. So it's beneficial for quite a few species.
Private landowner, if he wants to burn, which burning's the best thing you can do on your property, and it's most economical by far for the benefits you get out of it. But you need to have a prescribed burner, write your plan, and do your fire lanes properly.
All right, so here we're in a pine stand, a printed pine stand, that they have been burning, but you'll see burning without timber work ahead of it has very limited value. So if you look at the understory out here, there's not a lot here. Even though this has been burned as recently this past year, you see the fire scars on the base of the tree. So they are using prescribed fire, which is a great tool, but without the thinning ahead of it, without prepping the stand for fire, you don't get the response back in the native plants that we've talked about. You don't get the cover back that we like. You don't get the food resources back for the deer and things. So in this situation, even though they're using one of the tools, which is fire, they're not combining it with the other things that really make it pop and really make it great and make great habitat.
MDWFP, what we do, we provide technical guidance to landowners, so biologists, others within the agency that have expertise in habitat management on a daily basis meet with private landowners all across the state to help tailor management recommendations to their particular property, to instruct them on habitat management practices, to give them an idea of the things they can do to enhance wildlife populations on their land, and in turn that benefits all the citizens of the state. Everybody benefits when private landowners take good care of their property.
For over 70 years, Mississippi Outdoors magazine has served the readers of the Magnolia State. The magazine contains interesting features such as wildlife photography and soul lunar tables. Subscriptions to the magazine are very inexpensive, and when you subscribe, you'll receive 6 bi-monthly issues containing articles on hunting and fishing in the state, public lakes, state parks, and our wildlife management areas. For more information, call our toll-free number at 1-888-874-5785.
He had been in a strut the whole time. All right, we're in Kemper County, Mississippi this afternoon. It is early April. Turkey, we've seen some hens that have split off. We're going to be in 800-acre tract of natural regeneration, pretty much. It was cut over in 1989 and has grown back in some really nice timber, mix of pine and hardwood. There's green fields in here. This is some deer territory, but it's good turkey habitat also. And we're going to be easing around, see if we can't crank one up this afternoon around some of these food plots or possibly off in that creek bottom. know, but I just don't know how close we can get on the big where you can get a good shot. That tree that's leaning to the left, that's kind of a hard left, crooked tree, he's right under it, he just moved. You own him yet? He's a pretty small bird. The big bird's gonna be coming behind him. That's the one we want. I see him. He's right at the edge of the field. He's coming on down. This other one's got me pinned down where I can't do nothing. Yeah, I got him. Give him. Whatever you can. Can you call to him at all? I'm scared to move my hands. Okay. He won't come out of that strut. That's all the shot I had. I'm gonna bring the buggy up here. At the other end of the field, we gotta go down there.
Okay.
Here's a wad to the shale. I believe that was a clean miss. It didn't any feathers. It didn't anything. I was forcing it through this opening here. He had been in a strut the whole time he come down the edge of the field. That's the first time he come out of a strut, and that's the reason I took the shot when he run his neck up. Probably should have waited till he got here. Been a cleaner shot. I was shooting through a small hole, but like I said, the first time I'd seen him not in the strut, and I forced it, but it's not any sign of a hit anywhere here, so hopefully it was a clean miss. We're back at it this morning. It's early April in East Mississippi, Kemper County. We had a hunt yesterday afternoon, good hunt, and I missed one. We're headed back out this morning to meet my buddy Carlton, and we're gonna see if we can't have better luck. All right, we're in the Flatwoods region of Kemper County this morning. It's early April. We've noticed that the hens are splitting off some, so we're hoping it's going to be a good morning. Here's some good gobbling. That's a good ways. Is that turkey again?
You can, Charlie. He's down. Let me go get him.
Oh, it was a second setup this morning. We couldn't get the first bird to do anything, so we had heard this bird in the distance and come over, and I think he was probably about 200 yards from us down in a draw there, and he come on up and worked good. I heard him drumming coming in there, and he gobbled some and come on in, then he strutted and gobbled and made a great hunt.
He's a good bird. Probably 1.25 inches or better spurs.
Get out of here.
Probably 4 or 5 year old bird. So it was an awesome hunt. Me and my old buddy been doing it a long time.
We've been doing it a long time.
Boy,
that's right.
Enjoy it.
I did too, Carlton. That's great.
What you think?
Yeah, that's a nice bird there, please. Let's see here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what you come down here for right there.
Yeah, that's a good bird. Now that's what I was talking about. Now see, you know, not a real heavy bird.
Yeah.
That's a native bird to us, and it's what a trophy that is. What a great hunt to have you guys here with me to experience this. Let's see where's my old shotgun.
I'll pick that up for you. We're gonna have a 9.5 inch beard.
9.5.
I'm gonna say rolling around to the tip's gonna be 1/4.
1.25 inch bird.
Bird sort of got cranked up, answered a couple crows coming in, never really answered us again, but got quiet for about 10 minutes. And that's when I started hearing the spitting and drumming coming up the hill. Hit him pretty good, he gobbled, we could tell he was coming in to our right. Then I laid eyes on him and spotted him, and he just slowly, you know, did what they do. He strutted back and forth and put on a great show. I think I got him to answer one more time before he was able to strut right down Mr. Charles' gun barrel at about 35 yards, and he made a good, clean kill. So, good memories, good times, good friends. Can't beat it.
Riding through the bayou, headed for the sky blue, back out on the trail again and again. Hiking and hunting and fishing the land, time is time well spent.